L&D friends, we are so excited to have the opportunity to be a part of today's Leaders Talk and show you how we're using WebXR and AI technology to create immersive and impactful learning experiences that are scalable to an entire enterprise. We've already been introduced briefly by Avery, but just to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm Danielle Silver, a solution architect at SweetRush. Adrienne Soto is our Director of Immersive Technologies, and the lovely Martez Green is joining us from Hilton. She is a Senior Manager of Customer Promise Learning. I'd also like to take this moment to really thank Martez for taking the time to present with us today. It's been such a pleasure to work with her on this AI-powered project. She is a visionary leader who, together with her team, are fearlessly embracing advanced technology in an effort to elevate learning at Hilton. So for those of you who are new to SweetRush, I will quickly share that we are trusted by so many of you and your peers in the L&D industry. And at the heart of what we do is we help organizations navigate change, whether that's supporting your team members as they gain new skills or shifting mental models to improve behavior. We proudly empower people to adapt, innovate, and thrive into the future. We've had the honor of working with the Hilton Hotel Group over the past 10 years. And in that time, we've innovated together, grown together, and learned together, and it's yielded incredible results. Their relentless dedication to innovation, their inclusive culture, and their unwavering commitment to nurturing the personal and professional growth of their employees has earned Hilton the coveted ranking of the #1 world's best workplace by Fortune magazine and Great Place to Work. And today, we are delighted to share a recent project that we just launched for their customer promise curriculum. So with that, I will hand it over to the lovely Martez to tell us a little bit about the project, the challenge, the solution, and the overall vision.
Thanks so much, Danielle. So at Hilton, we make a promise to our customers to deliver a reliable and friendly stay at over our 7,000 properties around the world today. And we aim to exceed every guest's expectations. However, sometimes challenges arise. So we partnered with our dear friends here at SweetRush in search of a new and innovative way to build confidence for our team members, to drive empathy, as well as empower this behavior to be the best at resolving problems at every hotel, for every guest, for every stay. We had a great framework already in place through our HEART model, and we wanted to amplify this across our hotels for problem resolution so that every team member, all 400,000 of us, from our most tenured to our newest team members, feel confident and capable to resolve problems when they arise. So what is HEART model? So HEART model is to hear the guest. It is to empathize with the guest. It is to apologize with the guest for a situation that has occurred. We resolve that problem. And finally, we thank them for allowing us to recover that service when a challenge does arise. And we chose this acronym for a simple reason. It's easy to remember. And each step plays a really important role in resolving problems. And we wanted all of our team members, no matter their role and/or department, to have a safe environment to practice the HEART model and to help strengthen their heart muscle to be the best at problem resolution, to continue to drive that exceptional service around the globe for all of our hotels. And I'll flip it over to Danielle.
Thank you. So in August of last year, we had the opportunity to launch these experiences at Hilton's All Suites and Focus Service Conference, in which 10,000 general managers and commercial sales leaders from across the Americas were in attendance. So here is a short video featuring some reactions from a few attendees who tried the experience. And you should be hearing some sound.
I think it was absolutely incredible. I think it gives firsthand true experience, but it's modernized technology to be able to relate with our team members that are working today.
That's absolutely amazing. And I know maybe people of my generation are a little bit afraid of the word AI, and I know maybe the younger generations love it and understand it a lot better than maybe we do. But it was very comfortable. I didn't feel intimidated. Sometimes I do. And I know that in the general session they were speaking about it and how this is going to enhance us in the hospitality world and not necessarily replace the person with a robot. That will still be there.
Where do I sign?
You're ready.
Yes.
Okay, I love that.
Absolutely. It's great. It's just like I left and I came back to make sure that somebody had my contact and, hey, I want to do this as soon as possible.
All right. So when VR, AI, and speech-to-text technology join forces, we unlock a new dimension of learning possibilities. And this is the trio of technology that powers the project that we're about to show you. We've created many VR experiences over the years, and what we heard from our client partners was that VR was challenging to scale to wide distributed audiences. We solved this through WebXR, which is a technology that allows us to create web-based VR experiences that are accessible on VR headsets, as well as desktop computers. So now you can create impactful, immersive experiences that all of your learners can access and enjoy. This is Vic. He's our virtual concierge and AI coach that analyzes responses and delivers personalized feedback to each and every learner. A voice detection system empowers learners to engage with hotel guests using their own voices, eliminating the need for multiple choice prompts. This is a true evolution of the branching simulation. This approach encourages learners to tap into their natural instinctual responses in any given situation, enhancing the authenticity of their interactions. Take a moment and imagine that you're working at a hotel and a guest comes to you with a problem. It can be challenging to know what to do in real time, particularly when a guest is unhappy. That is the beauty and power of this experience, to create a safe space for learners to practice and to fail, an experience in which learners can flex their problem resolution muscles so that when they are confronted with real-world guest challenges, they're able to overcome them with confidence and grace. To demo the project and give you a sense of how it plays out in practice, here's a 2-minute video from that conference of a user going through one of the scenarios on a desktop computer.
I have to do something about the air conditioning unit in my room. It rattled all night. I tried adjusting the temperature, changing the fan setting, nothing. I didn't get any sleep.
Ms. Cato is very unhappy and exhausted. What will you say to her?
I hear you that the air conditioning and fan were running in your room all night. I understand how frustrating this must be because, of course, you're expecting to have a good night's sleep in our hotel. I sincerely apologize that this happened. I'm very sorry. I'd love to make this right for you. Can I offer you a free voucher for the restaurant to dine with us today? And I'll also send technical support up to your room, maintenance up to your room right away to fix the issue. Thank you so much for bringing this to my attention. I really appreciate it.
You did a good job hearing the guest's problem by repeating it back to them. You showed empathy by acknowledging the guest's frustration over the lack of sleep. You apologized sincerely for the inconvenience caused. Do not offer free vouchers or discounts greater than 50% off. Focus on resolving the issue by sending maintenance and ensuring the guest is moved to a new room. You thanked the guest appropriately for bringing this issue to your attention.
So in some ways, this is the most important slide of our presentation. And here are 2 crucial concepts that we'd encourage you to take away from today's session. Firstly, projects using new technologies like AI are full of uncertainty. After all, we're integrating technologies that are themselves ever-changing. For a project of this nature to be successful, deep trust and collaboration both between internal teams and with your client partner is critical. Secondly, it's crucial for all of these core components to be in place for your AI-powered project success. You might have top-notch learning experience designers, but without careful attention to your IT infrastructure and data security, your project could crumble. Similarly, even with a solid development architecture, if your AI prompt lacks the necessary detail, your project won't meet its learning objectives. So let's dive into each of these components one by one. We've done our best to distill the information and share our process with you. But in reality, we could speak to each of these topics for hours. We've intentionally left some time at the end of this presentation to get some of your burning questions answered. First and foremost, a spirit of experimentation is essential in order to navigate this constantly evolving landscape. Projects using advanced technology require a very iterative and flexible approach. One of the very first things we do is build a prototype so that we can test technologies, validate ideas, and refine our concepts. This happens in parallel to other project stages like content analysis. Moving on to the not so small task of learning experience design, the role of the LXD is multifaceted, but I wanted to call out 3 key aspects here, starting with storytelling. Our LXDs craft scenarios designed to resonate with learners and make complex concepts more impactful and memorable. Although this is an AI-powered project, we did not actually use AI in the development of our characters or stories. Instead, our LXDs worked closely with the Hilton team to write authentic and realistic scenarios the old school way, which is in part what made this project so successful. The characters are based on real hotel guests and real guest challenges. And I'd love for Martez to share a bit more about the stories and how they came to life.
Yes, so we really looked to our own guest data from across the globe, identifying the biggest opportunities for us to help leverage real life scenarios that our team members are realizing and experiencing every day, and how we can help upskill them to use the HEART model to respond, resolve, but also practice in a safe environment.
Thank you. So another big component of the LXD's role is to envision these effective blended learning solutions. So when looking at the customer promise curriculum, we designed a multimodal learner journey made up of e-learning modules, pre-shift activities, in which learners gain their foundational knowledge. This WebXR AI experience was envisioned as the capstone activity that would then give learners the opportunity to truly apply what they'd learned and put their skills to the test through these immersive real-world scenarios. Martez, can you share a little bit more about the learner journey and the importance of meeting learners where they're at in the hospitality industry?
Yeah, we are very busy every day. Hospitality is a 365-day environment, 24/7. So on top of our traditional learnings through our huddles, our micro e-learnings and video series, we really look to a new immersive environment. As post-COVID, we've had a real change to who our team members are. And so how we can help upskill and train them, and looking outside of your traditional one-on-one connection or learning with a manager or practicing in a group huddle. And so allowing that team member to have that safe space to learn and practice before they're really stepping on to that real life experience of a guest in front of you with a problem that may be a little upset. So how can we help help our team members practice and be skilled so they feel confident when that problem does arise, so they can solve it quickly and they're empowered to do so.
Right. So now here's where the LXD role is evolving in a really exciting way. The LXD is an integral part of developing the AI prompt, which is another really important part of any AI-powered project. This is a deeply collaborative process between the LXD, the lead developer, and the client. Let's look at the anatomy of a successful AI prompt and how you can train your AI coach to deliver impactful and effective feedback to learners. Starting with role and goal. First, we tell the AI who it is and how it should behave. In other words, we give it a personality or a perspective from which to share feedback with learners. For example, you're a manager of a Hilton hotel. Your responsibility is to ensure that the team member is resolving the guest's problem by following the HEART problem resolution model correctly. Next up, we write specific step-by-step instructions. Here, we would break down the HEART model and describe each component. The more context, the better. For example, the team member must resolve the guest's problem by successfully implementing all steps of the model in the prescribed order. Next, we define the constraints in order to prevent the AI from acting in unexpected ways. For example, if the problem is resolved, but the team member did not complete all steps of the model in doing so, the team member must be told that they did not complete the task correctly. Lastly, pedagogy. Here we condition the AI to give feedback on the learner's performance so that they can reflect and correct their mistakes on the next go. For example, provide feedback on how well the team member used the heart model, emphasizing what they did right and what they did incorrectly. This is, of course, a very simplified example of an AI prompt. In reality, this is one of the most complex components of the project. Remember, this is a very iterative process, and human validation is essential here. Test your prompt, review the answers, and refine as needed. I'm going to put Martess on the spot again to talk a little about the collaboration on the AI prompt from Hilton's perspective and how her team helped to really refine the prompt over time.
Yeah, Danielle, this was the most fun part of the project, really. It was really allowed all of us at Hilton to really break down what does a good response mean, how can we be better, and what does best sound like. We went through each step to really understand what does it mean to holistically have the heart model, what does that response sound like, and then also looking at what are realistic resolutions and helping create some guardrails so that the team member can begin to think and understand at the level of severity and how to help respond best to that guest. And then also really important to teach them what heart sounds like with the AI. What does it mean to hear? What does it mean to really empathize? What does an apology sound like that is genuine? That's a huge one. And then a resolution that is realistic, that solves the guest problem, but also is important to not impact the hotel. I like to call this the Oprah moments. We want to be thoughtful in what that resolution looks like. And then also to thank the guest, because it's so important to understand that a guest has given you a gift to solve this problem. So how are we going to impact that? And that it does sound genuine. And each step is so important. So having the AI understand that and then give feedback to help that learner understand areas of opportunities where they could be more genuine, where empathy was missed, and then really looking to drive that behavior, enhance their service skills, so that now in any response that they are always thinking of the heart model, whether they be it's top of mind, it's just innated in their heart, so they also feel that they're resolving best.
Thank you for sharing. To me, this was also one of the most fascinating parts because each step of the heart model is so nuanced and so hard to quantify. So training that AI so that it reflects the Hilton culture as well, was a huge challenge and one that was really fun for the team to overcome.
Truly.
So let's jump over to the next component and explore some of the visual design considerations. In this experience, learners step into realistic 360-degree environments that mirror their real-world contexts, allowing learners to practice and apply their skills in a safe space and better prepare them for real-world challenges. The Hilton team provided us with images of the various hotel spaces, which we then used to build out these environments. We created 3 virtual spaces, each designed to capture the visual look and feel of the respective brands. In addition to Vic, our virtual concierge, we designed 3 guest avatars, each designed and inspired by real guest travelers. I'll hand it over again to Martess to speak to the characters and the thought process behind how they came to life.
Yeah, this was equally a fun part, along with building the environments, really showcasing our 22 unique brands here at Hilton and the different environments that these avatars and our team members would interact and engage with our guests, from our hotel restaurants, our guest rooms and lobbies. So you'll see the avatars engaging in that environment, but also showcasing our global travelers, our guests from families, for leisure, for business, and allowing that team member to really understand and how to specify when using the heart model, what are the nuances and how do we respond differently to the occasion where this family may have saved up for a really long time. And so this is a really big inconvenience to your road traveler who experiences this all the time and really is just looking to let you know about problem has occurred in their stay. And so just showing this realistic of our diverse guests as well as our diverse locations really just amplified this immersive experience for our team members to best be able to use the heart model and to really learn and change those behaviors.
Great, thank you so much for sharing. So moving on to the next visual design component or consideration is user interface design. So as we thought about the complexity of the heart model, we knew we wanted to engage learners and motivate them to try, to fail, to try again, and really to have fun. The heart model is a powerful multi-step methodology, with each step being very nuanced and subjective. Empathy, apology, resolution, these are challenging concepts to quantify. Our creative team decided that visualizing the heart model through this results screen as pictured here empowered learners with instant and visual feedback about their performance, where they were strong and where their areas for improvement were, and it immediately situated them for another attempt. We also found that the use of the green and the red boxes actually motivated people to repeat the experience until they hit green for all 5 letters. And the last visual design consideration I'll touch on here is the challenge of designing for multiple devices. Again, it is essential to consider the UI. Our goal is to ensure that instructions are easy to follow, the interactions are intuitive, and the user experience is consistent and effective across devices. So far, we've covered prototype development, learning experience design, and visual design. I'll now hand it over to Adrian to talk more about WebXR and some of the technical aspects of the project.
Thanks. Danny previously mentioned that WebXR is one of the technologies that's behind this project. And just like any website or almost any web content, WebXR experiences are uploaded to a server where you can access them from your computer or a headset using an internet browser. However, when we're speaking of web content that is used in learning, there's a huge component that you're all very familiar with called the learning management system. Thanks to our WebXR LMS integration tool, or LIT for short, projects like this one can be accessed through a learning management system. This provides continuity from the course the learner is already taking to the WebXR experience. We can also bring back metrics from the learner's performance in the experience to the LMS, so that the learner can continue with the course. And one of the most important aspects here is device optionality. As mentioned before, within an existing learning content, the learner gets to a point where the option to continue in virtual reality or in their desktop computer is presented. What happens here is, once a selection is made, the learner is taken to the WebXR training exercise where they can interact with the content using the hardware they selected. And this is one of my favorite subjects. And the reason is that this is how the magic happens. In previous webinars, we've talked about how different technologies are now maturing and how the mixing and matching of these technologies are allowing for the creation of amazing content. A cool analogy is that you can think of this like a form of alchemy, where different elements are being mixed, trying to craft something impossible. The difference being that you actually get to create it. This is a very dense slide, so I'm going to explain it in an oversimplified way. So please take what I say with a grain of salt. What you see is all the connections between the different technologies behind the project. At the center of it all is our server, or anyone's server for that matter. This is the Alchemist pot. On the bottom left in green, we have external services, or the raw metals. Those are brought into the pot, where we add some of the top right yellow ingredients, our house specials, anything and everything related to content creation. While we let everything sit for a bit, special care is taken into safety. We don't want everything to blow up. So in blue at the top left, you see that our IT team works to make sure nothing dangerous happens. And finally, we add to the mix all the ingredients located at the bottom right, where WebXR takes center stage to provide cross-device functionality and correct content distribution. And once everything is put together, we have the final result, this amazing project. So in the previous slide, I mentioned lightly the work our IT team does. However, I want to bring out the magnitude of the importance of what goes on behind security in these types of applications. So in SweetRush, we have 4 philosophies at the core of our work. Number 1, we're committed to safeguarding user data, and we protect user privacy by anonymizing data effectively. We also maintain high security standards through continuous audits and adherence to regulations. And third, we implement robust security measures to safeguard against various threats across different IT layers, like mission critical assets, data, application, endpoint, and network security. And finally, we're transparent about the use of AIs and are vigilant on the ethical use of AI technologies. Back to you, then.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So Adrian is our technical expert, and so any technical questions, I'm going to be putting him on the spot for a little bit later. All right, user acceptance testing, the second last component. At last year's Hilton conference, we set up a station where attendees were able to demo the experience for themselves on both a VR headset and a desktop computer. Here you'll see Andres and our lead XR developer guiding people through the experience and providing assistance as needed. This was a magical moment for us because it meant that we were able to watch people as they went through the experience and notice how they organically want to navigate through the modules. These observations helped us to refine and improve the experience. One example is that we noticed that people were hitting the record button twice and unintentionally starting and stopping the experience without having had a chance to answer. We later improved the UI to make this more intuitive. Another example was that when people finished a particular scenario, they were eager to try it again, but there was no way for them to do that without going back to the very beginning of the project. Another great insight from which we could improve the user experience. This event really highlighted the critical role of user acceptance testing and human validation in XR or AI-powered projects. No matter how much you and your team tested internally, you have got to put it in front of real users and observe, listen, and be open to feedback. Lastly, an ode to the role of project management, which is no small feat when every project involves a new tool or technology or a functionality and a whole lot of uncertainty. The project manager is the conductor of this orchestra, ensuring that parallel, often overlapping streams of work come together seamlessly and culminate in a successful final project. Our XR project manager closely collaborated with the Hilton project leads, including Martez here, requiring a deep level of trust and expert coordination to weave together all of these elements. This partnership was the foundation upon which we were able to turn an intricate vision into a powerful learning experience. And that brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you again for sharing your time with us today. I know we covered a whole lot of information, and so we do invite you to please reach out to us if you'd like to dive deeper into any of these topics. We're so passionate about the intersection of learning and advanced technology, and we'd be delighted to continue the conversation with you. With that, I'd like to open up the floor to hear some of your reflections and questions. All right, let me open up this question box here.
I've been answering them, sorry.
Okay, you've been answering some of them. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Let's have a look.
Yeah, you can read them out loud and I'll answer them live then.
Is this US-based or has this technology and learning been able to be used globally, thinking of privacy concerns? Adrian, I'm going to throw that one to you.
So it's US-based, but it can be used globally. But right now, the core of the technologies are US-based.
Perfect.
And we have showcased them at our international hotels as well, and it works well and great. So it is accessible through our global LMS system as well.
Amazing, thank you. A question from Martez. I assume you need to budget for monthly fees from Anthropic. Is the monetization based on per word usage? And I think actually Adrian answered a similar question in the text. Okay, well, I'll hand it over to either of you to talk about the monthly fees.
So yes, there is
it's
a
Adrian.
month. There is a monthly fee associated with the AI core license that we are using for this project.
Thank you. Do we need VR WebXR to create a learning experience like this one? I'm happy to answer that one. So the technologies we work with, we think in blocks. So everything, we're custom content creators. So we can pick and choose different technologies based on what suits you and your organization and what your vision is. And so we've had clients who love VR and want to embrace the technology in the headsets and love the immersive nature that it provides, that it enhances the learning experience. And other organizations are not yet ready to embrace VR headsets or want to deal with the logistics of that. And so we can pivot, in which case we could create something just like we've shown you without enabling the headset functionality. And so we would make it accessible on desktop computer or even mobile phones. And so, no, this experience is not tethered to a VR headset. We're very flexible and we can make it functional on any device that really works for your organization and makes sense for your audience. A technical question coming through from Anna. What was the app tool used for the AI-powered functionality, which enabled you to provide users feedback? That's for you.
So we started working with a couple of applications. No need to mention them right now, but we saw that they were not as fast as we'd like. So we ended up creating our own connection points, and the way the data is sent and received from the AI is internal SweetRush IP that was developed in collaboration with Hilton.
And Martez, a question for you. For the international hotels, did you or will you localize the experience? And what does that look like?
Yeah, we are still learning and expanding this. We currently are still in developing additional scenarios with our SweetRush friends here, so that they will be applicable to all of our brands as we first started this journey for our all suites and focus service category. But we have some additional work to do ahead. So this next year, we'll do a lot of listening and then looking to expand and what that means for translations and how we can better help support our international audiences. But right now we're fully launching this capability across our enterprise, but in an English setting for right now.
Perfect, thank you. Let's have a look what other questions. Did you build your own avatars and settings, or did you use an existing vendor? We created our own avatars. So at SweetRush, we have a library of avatars that we're able to customize. So we're able to make a lot of tweaks and really create characters that are in line with whatever the vision is for the particular project. Interestingly, we could also do live action footage. So if your preference is to do a more realistic look and feel, we could send specialized cameras to your location with actors. And so we're able to pivot between different styles of development as well. All right, let's see. Okay, I've got another technical question coming in, Adrienne. So do you implement RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, alongside Bedrock or Cloud for language model learning?
So we didn't implement it in this project. We're starting to test it with a new project that we're working with similar technologies. So we're doing like a soft test, but yeah, eventually that's what we're going to start doing.
And another question for you, with the ever-changing technologies, how easy is it to keep the training updated?
For me?
Yes.
So how we work is we create blocks of technology, if you will. So if something, well, actually this happened in this project. We started using OpenAI at first. So that was like the AI core block. And eventually we were not happy at the time. So remember, this was some months ago, so it's a long time now with technology. But we were not happy with how fast the responses were. So we removed that block and we put another one with Anthropic in Claude. without affecting the rest of the project. So the way the architecture is done, the way our developers work, again, is like block-based design and development to prepare for that. So short answer, it's relatively easy to upgrade.
Great. Another question, what was the biggest challenge in designing this experience? And I'd love to hear from both of you, maybe from a technical perspective and then maybe from a Hilton perspective as well.
Well, from Hilton perspective, it was really, for us was how do we teach the AI and how do we really showcase to the AI so that it could give the best feedback to the learner of each step of the heart model. And so what does that sound like? What does that look like? What does that feel like? And then where do we, present to that learner of what's our recommendation of how to do it to better, best. And then also to really drive that learner to begin to think in a different mindset of how they can really amplify and exceed that guest expectation. So it was a fun challenge. I have fully added teaching AI to my resume, but it was a great challenge there, and it really helped us think in a different perspective on Hilton and how we can be better at solving guest problems when they arise.
Yeah. Amazing, thank you. Adrian, were there any standout technical challenges?
Yes, well, Hilton always comes to us and raises the bar and challenges in some crazy way. So when they came to us in the first place to start using AI, at the time, all you had was AI technology that wasn't true AI at the end. So with this project, the real challenge was using true AI at the time and coming up with it, creating all the connections, handling all that data. And yeah, that was the biggest challenge. And thankfully we succeeded and learned a ton in the process.
Okay. We did. All right, I have a question here from Anne, which I can take. How long has it taken to develop this training to date? So I think for the 3 modules, it took us in the region of 3.5 months to develop all 3. And we've just kicked off the development of an additional 20 modules, I believe. So, so we're hoping that we'll build efficiencies over time as we're building the foundation for this project, and the timeline will shorten as we all learn and grow amidst this new and exciting landscape. Okay, let's see. For Martes, how did you overcome the barriers to entry with AI security concerns? Is your senior leadership concerned, with anything around data security and all of that? I will say before handing it over to you that I am so impressed by Hilton's innovative culture and just your willingness to test new technologies and just to embrace them and to kind of learn from there and then change your approach as things progress. So yeah, do you have any thoughts around that? Or
at Hilton, we are always trying to be as innovative and push the envelope as possible. And I know that we are in great company with SweetRush as our partners to ensure that we are doing so, but doing it in the safest, most practical way to ensure that our team members, but as well as the Hilton system is protected and still protecting the privacy of all that as well. So, we have great trust and know that we're securely doing this in a safe way that is challenging for our team members and providing a new innovative way to learn, but is still in utmost security for us as well.
Thank you. I know that data security is top of mind for every organization. I mean, this is exciting technology, but it's also scary. And so approaching it with some cautious optimism, I think, is a good approach. Okay, next question. Do you have content available for varying accessibilities? So I will say that we are building an accessibility panel for our immersive experiences, which allows us to include things like closed captioning and other accessibility features. The standards for accessibility have not yet been fully defined for immersive content, so we follow best practices for game design as much as possible. Because when we create immersive experiences or 360-degree based experiences, it's not as easy for a screen reader to follow along. So that's our biggest challenge when it comes to accessibility. But we're constantly evolving and working on this. And yes, accessibility is top of mind for us as an organization as well. And so it's something that we're constantly evolving and working to improve.
Sure. I would like to add to that answer. I just mentioned we worked on blocks. The UX block is a pretty interesting one. We're doing a lot of research in that block for physical limitations and interactivity with physical limitations. We are heavily researching eye tracking technology and the use of head gestures to interact with 360 spaces. And the way we work with UX and the way we work with WebXR allows for the use of customizable controllers. So if we had to create a controller or an interaction piece of hardware for someone with a limitation to interact with this type of content is completely possible, and we actually would love to do it if you have the necessity.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you for adding. I think we have one final minute, so I'll grab one more question here. And Martes, maybe this one is for you. How do you measure the success of the training modules? So what does success look like for Hilton?
I love that question. We really tried to add some fun and gamification to it where, as you saw in each letter, it rated whether you passed or failed. And we saw some real competitive nature of how you can make sure that it's all green. And so that's what success looks like for us. And then we are using the data that we pull from the learners and how they are doing to then really identify where we as Hilton can lean and amplify training through our other modalities, those huddles, those videos, our other e-learnings where maybe we're not truly resolving problems. And so looking at that data to see where our team members need the most support through this training to identify how we can better amplify what steps or what situations that we can really help support our hotel team members. Great question.
Yes. All right, I think that brings us to time. So again, thank you so much for being with us today. Please do reach out if you want to dive deeper into any of the topics that we discussed. And I guess I'll be handing it back over to Dee or Avery.